Dark Souls. For those who are unaware and just clicked on this video because you've heard the name before, Dark Souls is a series of video games from developer FromSoft, directed by Hideki Miyazaki.
Hidetaka Miyazaki.
But they're known for their punishing game mechanics and obtuse lore. And I decided, what if I explained it? Mostly from memory. I have a small little page and like a half of notes, mostly just phrases or like names, so that way I can keep on track and sort of know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about, but it's prevention against the inebriation. So yeah, let's begin. In the Age of Ancients, the world was unformed, a gray mass, a world of craggy rocks with arch trees and everlasting dragons that didn't know death. Everything was immortal. And then came fire. And with fire came disparity, directly from the game. Comes disparity. Life, death, heat, cold, um, light, and dark. All of these things come together in what is known as the first flame. Now, the within this first flame are discovered these powerful these powerful souls, Lord souls. Three of them are found by Nito, Lord and First of the Dead, the Witch of Izalith, and her daughters, who use it to create pyromancy. That'll be important later. And then Gwent, that's the fucking uh, the Witcher card game. Gwyn, Lord of Sunlight, and his army of Silver Knights. Now, Gwyn, I'm again quoting directly from the game here. Gwyn didn't have his army when he found the Lord Soul. It was after that he used it to coagulate's not the right word. Centralize power within himself and bring himself to be the view of a god, as God, as a god, the god. Um, and then uh, a fourth Lord Soul was found by a the Japanese translates directly to a person no one knows or an unknown person, but in English they're called the furtive pygmy. And this furtive pygmy finds the dark soul. It's the furtive pygmy finds the dark soul, and it's a peculiar soul because it has ties to the abyss, which is the opposite to. There's light and dark. The abyss is dark. It is where all of it's darkness. It's like we don't really you don't really go there. I mean, you kind of do in the DLC. Not really. I mean, in a sense, the abyss is where humanity comes from, and humanity in this game is not. When I there's I'm going to be saying humanity and humans. Humanity is when you think of humanity, think of this dude, that this sort of like amorphous black like being like human shaped with it's a human. It looks like a human effigy. It looks like it's the that's a thing for the second game. Human effigies. It looks vague. When I say human effigies, I mean like in the like ritualistic sense. It's a human effigy. It looks like a human. That's humanity. When I say human, That's me. That's you. Supposedly, unless you're a robot. But the the humanity exists within the abyss, and from this humanity, the furtive pygmy and his descendants, humans, us, which he grants a piece of the dark soul to them when they're born, have the ability to create life and weapons and like the piece of the dark soul keeps it makes you immortal it makes you immortal, right? And so he, the furtive pygmy, like is the progenitor of humanity and leads humanity into like this age of leads humanity into the creation of a civilization along with the other lords. They're building these civilizations underground, underneath the formless gray expanse above that the everlasting dragons inhabit. And they decide, hey, wait a minute, I kind of want to see the sky. So they tunnel up through the ground and come out onto the surface and challenge the ancient dragons, or everlasting dragons, to war. And they go to war. And fucking, as they're going to war, they kind of realize, oh fuck, these things are immortal. Oh, how the hell are we gonna kill? How are we gonna kill them? When in comes the Benedict Arnold of the Dragons, this Seath the Scaleless. He's like it's like an he looks not like an axolotl was not the right word. He looks amphibious, like the everlasting dragons are these big, imposing, solid like uh, they're made. They have stone scales, so they're made of rocks, so they just don't die and don't age, and they're solid. Whereas Seath, through a birth defect, is born without scales, and so he's like this fleshy, like I'm going to say a word I don't think is right. Cankerous, sort of just like dickhead. Like he just hates the fact that he's like not immortal and that he's not like them and that he's not like his like the other dragons. So he decides to. He basically goes, "Well, fuck you. I'm going to make sure you're exterminated from this planet." And he joins the war on the side of the lords and reveals to Gwyn and his Silver Knights that the dragons can be killed via their, or rather, the scales that keep them immortal can be stripped off with lightning. And so Gwyn crafts a lightning spear and like throws it at the dragons. It's in this whole opening cinematic. Most of what I'm covering right now is the opening cinematic. Yeah. So with Seath's betrayal, this allows the lords to take dominion over the lands, the world above, and it's called Lordran. Lordran. Is the name that's given to it, or that's the name that's given to Gwyn's domain, whereas Nita's is just called the domain of the dead or the catacombs, and then the Witch of Izalith, she just makes Izalith. It's sort of a chicken or the egg type of thing. Which came first, the Witch of Izalith or Izalith? That's the Witch of Izalith. She came first. So. In this lore, the furtive pygmy and humanity helped, but and for their efforts, Gwyn gifts them this ringed city that's just all as far away as possible from Lordran because Gwyn is scared. He doesn't like the fact that when the Dark Soul is split, it doesn't really lose power. It's sort of just like it's like a perpetual motion machine or like an infinite energy source to where it's just sort of no matter no matter it's got an infinite well to draw from. Whereas his own Lord Soul, as he splits it among his children, and he gives part of it to Seath when he's married into the family. Yeah, so he's as he's splitting his soul apart, he's like watching the first flame like sputter a little bit, and he realizes that like, oh, there's not. I don't have infinite energy. I don't have time. We're gonna this age of light will eventually end, and in an age of dark that is led by humanity and humans will take over. And he doesn't like that because he likes being in charge, and he likes the fact that he's worshipped by humans and by his own like followers, who I guess it's weird. They're not humans. They might be humans. I don't know. It's contentious. There's no solid thing for who the fuck is following what. What's the difference between the Silver Knights and the Ring Knights? Like behind the armor. It's whatever. I think it's whatever. Yeah. So Gwyn is watching as like realizing like, oh, this age is coming to an end, and I'm going to be like, outclassed. Outclassed isn't the right word. I'm going to lose my dominion over the world. And so what he decides to do is uh he like confers with the other lords, and he's like, hey, we all like being in charge, right? Yeah, we need to deal with these fucking. We need to like get the flame going again. And so what the Witch of Izalith does is she takes her portion of the her Lord Soul, or her portion of the Lord Soul, and tries to invigorate the first flame with it using her pyromancy, and or tries to create a substitute for the first flame with a pyromancy ritual, and this goes horribly wrong. And she and her 7 children, 6 daughters, 1 son, um, are transformed into the first demons. Yes, that's right. There's demons in these stories. Yes, they're transformed into the first demons. And the Witch of Izalith becomes what is known as the Bed of Chaos. And she's the mother of all demons, and she births them. And fails at reigniting the first flame. As the Age of Dark approaches and the first flame grows ever dim, Gwyn figures out that he can fuel the first flame with humanity, but he has to siphon that humanity from somewhere because he can't siphon it directly, or the pygmy lords can't just like give it to him because he's not human. So he creates what's called the dark sign, and the dark sign is branded on the soul. It's um, branded on the soul of every human, and it's what contains their powers, and it strips humanity of their immortality. But because of the nature of the Dark Soul as this like everlasting power source that's just um, again like infinite energy source. The existence of this infinite energy source. You can't when you die, you don't die. You just go hollow. Uh, hollowing is a type of undead where you lose your humanity and you essentially it's. I'll put up a picture here. When you're full of humanity, invigorated, humanity restored. If you've ever seen that image, that's what that's talking about. You're like full face. You look like normal, and then when you're hollow, hey, rolled out of the wrong side of the bed this morning. It's not like it's not fun, but you still like can exist and move, um, but you just don't have any humanity, and you can eventually lose your mind and go, like you don't have any humanity, you don't have any will to live. Eventually, you just sort of like give up and lose all higher functions and just turn into like an anger zombie, basically, just sort of like wildly attacking whatever gets close to you. And as these undead hollows are shepherded north by Gwyn's religious branch, known as the Way of White. It's his church, the Way of White, shepherds these undead north to asylums, and they're trapped there, just sort of waiting forever. I think the game says waiting until the end of the world. Uh, yeah, wait, are shepherded there and held there, waiting until the end of the world. These the the power that the flame gains from humanity isn't enough. Like it's able to sustain the lords, and it's also able to sustain the demons. And eventually, it gets to the point where the demons are sending caravans out and like war parties basically, and like stealing humanity from the gods. So Gwyn sends a platoon of his Silver Knights um, to Izalith to is it Izalith? Yeah, to Izalith to like fight the demons, and it's called the Demon War. Or uh, when you talk about it, it's called the Demon War. It's called the War Against the Demons, I think, in the game. But it's the Silver Knights fighting the demons, and then through the flame of the demons, it burns the Silver Knights black, and so there are Silver Knights, and then there are Black Knights. They're the same. They're the same thing. It's just one of them got burned. Um, oh yeah, there's a whole fucking thing here I forgot to put. Um, After the Demon War, which is just a fucking insane sentence, because it's not really that important. At the conclusion of the Demon War, the gods and the demons, um, whatchamacallit, they come to an agreement and they decide to split the humanity. The demons get it for their uses, the gods get it for their uses. Uh, yeah, okay. So, the plot against the gods. It's. I don't know, okay. I'm not going to talk about the plot against the gods. That one is so speculative, and there's literally no hard yes or no's. Whereas everything else I'm saying, I can say with like almost 100% certainty that everything else I'm saying actually is in the lore. Whereas the war against the gods is like, oh, it's just a bunch of shit that people are like making connections for. Anyways, some shit happens. The first flame still continues to sputter, and so Gwyn figures or decides that if he were to give his Lord Soul to the flame, it would reignite it and continue the Age of Light as the Age of Dark encroaches on his rule. So he leads himself and his legion of Silver Knights to the oh fuck me, I forgot the name of the boss arena. Oh, the king, I'm gonna call it the Kindle of the First Flame, or not Kindle of the First Flame. The just the area where the first flame exists, the hearth of the first flame. It's not called that. I'm going to call it the hearth of the first flame. I can't remember the name of it. The hearth of the first flame. He leads them there and links his Lord Soul to the first flame and reignites it and prolongs the Age of Light, not indefinitely. The first flame is still going to need to be rekindled occasionally, and this is propagated through, due to the nature of the Dark Soul, humans can gather the souls of other creatures and hold them within themselves. And through this process, they are able to rekindle or relink the first flame. And this legend of the chosen undead is propagated by Gwyn's Way of Light and is pilgrimages of certain undead are led, or pilgrimages of one undead who go around and they do a bunch of stuff, and it's this whole it's that's what Dark Souls is. The game is you're the chosen undead and you're going through the cycle of the chosen undead in order to relink the first flame and prolong the Age of Light. Now, here's the kicker. The you as a human, you have the dark sign on you, and this whole chosen undead horseshit, all a lie. It doesn't matter. You're not the chosen undead. You were never the chosen undead, Walter. There's been countless chosen undead for as long as time has come. It's a cycle, Walter. You gotta break the cycle. And so during the game, you meet with the servant Kingseeker Cramp, who is in the little hub that you return to all the time, the Firelink Shrine, and he talks. He's like a snake thing. He tells you about the chosen undead prophecy and what it means and what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to gather the Lord souls, or the fragments of the Lord soul, and then link them to the first flame in order to prolong the Age of Light. You also meet in the Abyss, New Anor Londo, or New Londo. It's Cramped and Krampf. Krampf. You meet Krampf, who's another serpent who looks exactly like Cramped, except he comes down, whereas Cramped comes up. He's like this, he's like that. Um, and he tells you about the furtive pygmy and about how Gwyn put the dark sign on the soul of humanity, and how the Age of Light needs to come to an end, and that the new age, an age of dark, should exist, being shepherded in by its dark lord. And So throughout the game, you're going through. You fight Nito. You fight the Witch of Izalith as the Man of Chaos. You fight a couple of her daughters. You fight her son, who's named Ceaseless Discharge. Yes. You go through the whole thing. You fight Seath. You gain his part of the Lord Soul. Fuck that dude. Fuck Seath. We hate Seath in this house. Yeah. And then at the end of the game, you find a hollowed Gwyn. Where, see, okay, this is a controversial opinion of mine. I think the way it's shown in the cinematic, the intro cinematic, is backwards and misleading on purpose because Miyazaki would do that shit. The way it's shown in the intro cinematic is you see the first three lords. Uh, it goes Nito, Witch of Izalith, Gwent, and then it talks about the furtive pygmy. Whereas I think what happened in the actual timeline, and not what's fed to you, is the furtive pygmy finds the dark soul, permeates it throughout humanity, and then some of his descendants, as they're building the civilization, Nino dies. He's the first of the dead, so he's the first thing to die. And through that death, he finds his part of the Lord's soul. The Witch of Izalith finds her part of the Lord's soul by studying the first flame, and finding pyromancy. And then Gwyn finds it by literally just sort of like sticking his hands in there and being like, there it is. And learning about sunlight. Uh, or he finds it by he takes part of the first flame and creates the sun. Um, and so I think by accepting the Lord Soul, it replaced the portion of the Dark Soul that was in them when they were humans was replaced by the Lord Soul, and which gave them these like godlike abilities and powers, and allowed them to do all these like miraculous or magical things, right? And so I think this is proven by the fact that Gwyn is fucking hollow. Meaning, because you only go hollow when you lose your humanity, and if they're not humans, how the fuck do you lose your humanity? And that's why they needed the humanity in order to survive, is because it was replacing the part of themselves that was lost as the Lord's soul was split and divided amongst his children. Anyways, you fight a Hollow Gwyn in the Hearth of the in the at the Shrine of the First Flame. It's just trying but backwards. At the Hearth of the First Flame. I can't remember. I'm gonna be so pissed. I'm not gonna. I don't remember that. But you then have the option of either linking the First Flame and prolonging the Age of Light, or you can move the cycle along and instigate an Age of Dark that is provided by and herald in the Age of Dark as the Dark Lord. Um, yeah, and that's the end of Dark Souls One. I'm not really gonna cover Dark Souls Three because I think I said earlier I'm still working through it. That's the lore of Dark Souls. Oh boy, I'm gonna get a little bit more high. Thanks for watching. This isn't usually what I do. I'm probably gonna do some stuff that's more structured than this. This was sort of a spur of the moment thing. Yeah, like, comment, and subscribe.